Hey Facebook, it's Anna here. Hey. How you doing? Just realised I can barely see anything through these sunglasses. But I think I should still be able to read comments if they come up, so that's good. Oh, how you doing? I'm just sitting outside because I decided that's what I'd like to do. Hey Harmony, how you doing? Awesome to hear from you. I've not heard from you for ages since you've moved over to the other side of the country. But yes, I've decided to sit out here in my sports bra because that's what I was wearing when I was doing about 2 hours of meditating and Reiki, and then decided rather than getting dressed, why wouldn't I just continue this and go from there, right? So funny little thing happened, and of course this was happening all in the stratosphere of all of the powerful leaders, movers and shakers, and basically everybody amazing and awesome that I know in the world is talking about the same thing, which is this idea that, like, what if we're the ones who actually have it all together? We're the ones that actually understand how things work, and the whole rest of the world is just broken and just has this crazy idea that what they're seeing, that what they see in front of them is real, as opposed to what they see in their vision and their mind, right? The same stuff I talk about all the time, that I live in my vision, I live in my mind, and all the stuff around me just shifts as I shift, right? And that's the way that reality is, but everybody seems to live in this other world. And so, yeah, it is. Well, see, this is exactly what I was going to talk about, Harmony. It is nice weather, but it really wasn't this morning. And this is what actually got me to think about doing this live stream in the first place. This and a friend's post this morning, which kind of shocked me into, like, oh, I'm going to have to talk about this later when I feel like it, once I've done 2 hours or so of Reiki meditating, obviously, because that was necessary. But yeah, that was what I was going to talk about, the weather. Yeah, I'm doing a live stream about the weather. The weather and also the this post, right? And this is very unlike Melbourne. Like, Harmony lived in Melbourne for some time, I believe, so she understands that, like, obviously we've had really nice weather over summer. However, moving now into the colder months and everything, which that's fine. I'm not going to be here for them. We're going to go travel location free, right? But in general, the weather here is not lovely for a big chunk of the year. It's very cold and gloomy and just generally wanting you to fuck off, which is what we're going to do, and go somewhere warmer for a while. Oh, thank you, darling. I think you're brilliant also. You're an absolute superstar. This is why we get each other, because you get this, right? That everybody else is just broken and we're awesome, right? Without sounding too much too up myself, right? But yeah, so here's what happened, right? It was this post that my friend did, and she was just talking about her child, right, really young child, and you know how, you know, parents and everything will put up what their kids say, the funny things their kids have said, right? And so that's exactly what she did. And she put up a funny post about her child and how he'd put up, and he'd invented a game for himself. And this is really funny because I was actually talking about playing pretend games and stuff yesterday on my live stream. So it's all just like, everything's just happening around me that I'm just attracting into it. And so I saw this post today, and so her kid was playing a make-believe game of I have a job, right? And he'd woken up or whatever in the morning, and he'd gotten really upset because he didn't want to go to his job. He was really worked up and upset, and he didn't want to go, and he didn't want to have to do it. And it was funny, obviously, because he just made up that it's a game, that he has to have a job. Like, he doesn't actually have to. He just made that up and upset himself with his own stuff that he made up. And the funny thing is, like, the first thing that came to my mind, and so of course I wrote it, was what I wrote on the post was like, yeah, I find that funny, but what I find even funnier is that, like, adults have just decided this as well. Like, so many adults I know, and for a large chunk of the world, they've decided that they have to have a job, and that they must go to their job, and they hate their job, but they're going to go do their job. And it's like this game of make-believe that they've made up at some stage, and then they just keep doing it, right? And they just live in it, and they just believe it, and then they keep up that illusion forever and ever and ever, and they keep telling themselves, and they keep arguing for this limitation that, oh, I hate my job, I have to go, I don't want to go today, but I have to. And for me, it was just as hilarious to think about adults doing this, because I'm like, there's hordes of adults in the world living exactly into this delusion and illusion and supporting it and supporting each other in this illusion, which I found a lot more hilarious than thinking about a kid playing a game of make-believe, when I know as a kid, I fucking believed whatever I was playing make-believe. Like, I knew that this was real. This was the truth. If I was a princess somewhere, I was a motherfucking princess. So, I knew that, you know, to be real, kids have a much better way of imagining things and a much better way of creating this than adults do anyway. So for me, it was even more hilarious to think, yeah, that's cool. Your kid did that, but you know, there's a whole world of adults out there living this exact same illusion, and then they all get on and be like, oh yeah, isn't that cute? Isn't that funny? Oh bless, and all that kind of stuff, which is fine. I get it, but at the same time, I was like, oh wow, another reminder. This not everybody gets this. Not everybody gets this, and oh my God, I think we're like the rest of the world is just broken. How do we unbreak them? Oh, thanks for the love hard shower. You're awesome. Yes, we are definitely aligned as fuck, which is why you find yourself on this live stream, because like, yeah, anyone who jumps on and is like, what the hell is this girl talking about? I do have to have a job and I do have to go every day. She's fucking mental. I'm jumping off, right? But yeah, so I was just like, oh, okay. I think I'm in the wrong space here. I don't think this is where I'm meant to be or anything like that. I don't think I'm going to somehow get through to these people how much they're actually arguing for their limitations, or why I find it so particularly hilarious that as adults they're still doing it, and then they're laughing about their kid that's doing it, and it's like, yeah, but you're teaching your kid that. Like, they're literally modelling you, and they're modelling your limitation, right? Like, yeah, so that was what kind of got me finding things hilarious, right? And then I remembered, this was earlier today, and I hadn't even done a post, I hadn't done a live stream, I wasn't really feeling it. I was just like, I don't really even know how I'm going to show up today and how I'm going to do anything today. But what I do feel like is I feel like going and doing about, however long I need of some meditation and Reiki. So went up to bedroom, laid down, put on some Reiki videos and had all my crystals and everything, and just started meditating. And so one of the things that I was going to talk about was the weather, right? So this morning it was actually really cold, like as in the kind of cold that if you're from Melbourne, you'll understand. It's like that cold that you get when it's winter and you've decided this has broken the level of I can get by without a heater. This is heater weather. And if it wasn't for the fact that I'm aware that it's still March and it's still going to be warm for another couple of months here before we leave, and therefore there's no fucking way I'm turning on the heater and breaking that seal now, I would have, like, if this was actually in winter, that would have been, hey, turn on the heater weather. Yes, you are a crazy chickie creating the life that you love, just as I am. Yes. But I really don't think that we are the crazy ones. I really think that we are the ones who are, in fact, natural and back to the beginning and understanding the way and the flow of life. To be honest, I think that we actually are those ones. And I think the rest of the world has just forgotten the basics, has forgotten what we were actually brought onto this earth with and knowing, and how creation actually came with us creating our world, and has forgotten that we've created everything, right, that we've got in front of us. So therefore we can uncreate it and change it just by the power of our thoughts and by uniting with those powers of thoughts, right? Which is why people like you and me, we are changing our world, because we are uniting, and the strength of it is changing everything around us, and our lives are just different, right? Because that's what we've chosen. But I really don't think, I don't think we're the crazy ones anymore. I think the people that living in their illusion that they have now bought into, that they've decided that this illusion that they created is their reality, I think that is the crazy shit. That is the crazy shit. Let me finish about the weather. So this weather that was this morning, it was quite cold, and I was like, okay, well, I'm not turning on the heater. But I just had this random thought earlier in the day. I'm like, I would just like it though if it did get better, because I would like to do a live stream. I'd like to do it outside. Like, I realise you can't see that I'm outside. I'm sitting like up against a wall, a brick wall, but I'm sitting out in my courtyard, and I really like it here. And I'm getting a little bit of sunshine coming through, right? And so I decided, I would like to have this weather improve, right? But I didn't really think much of it. And then when I went to go lie down and do my meditation and do my Reiki and stuff, I just put it into my head. It was shortly after I watched a short live stream from a friend of mine who basically just said, and Harmony, you'd know who this is, Kat, right? Who basically just jumped on for a few minutes and just said, you know what, you just get to decide. Like, you remember that there isn't any hoops you have to jump through, there isn't any rules you have to follow, there isn't any to-do list that you need to tick off to get what you want. All you got to do is ask. All you got to do is just decide that you're going to get it and ask, and that's it. And the rest of it, there's no other rules, right? And so I'm like, that's right. I almost forgot about that. Cool. Well, you know what? I think maybe, I'm not promising anything, universe, but I'm feeling like maybe once I've done my meditation and I've gotten my energy where I need it to be, I'm going to jump on a live stream, and I'm going to really want to do this outside in my sports bra. So I would really appreciate if you just fix the weather before then. That would be that would be awesome. And sure enough, I finished, and I didn't decide when I was going to finish my meditation or anything like that. I just when it was ready, I was ready, and I came downstairs, and I didn't even realise. I walked into the lounge room, and the lounge room is just flooded with light. And sure enough, I step outside, and it's warm. It's warm enough, right? It's not blistering hot, because that wouldn't be comfortable either, but it's actually really nice and warm. And it was like, oh, well, clearly the universe needs me now to deliver on what I said and jump on and talk about it and just remind the people here who are, the ones who aren't like the others, that you do just get to decide what you want and just get it and then just have it, and then that's just it. You don't have to prove yourself. You don't have to jump through all the hoops. You don't have to tick all the boxes and prove yourself and learn and go through the steps or anything like that. It's literally just decide what you want and then just have it. That is it. That is all that is actually required. There is no other steps involved. Harmony says, watch that too, made me hit like my blood button too. Yeah, how good is it? It was only a few minutes, but a lot of the time, obviously, you'll feel that someone that you're connected to, if they do a live or if they do a post, you're like, oh my God, they're speaking to me. They're just speaking to me. And that's exactly what I felt like. I was like, oh, that's right. I do just get to have whatever I want as soon as I want it and however I want it, and it's all just perfect and it's all just done and it's all just given. And it's just like, yeah, that's right. We don't need to, actually argue for our limitations anymore. We don't need to buy into this illusion. And I know that you don't. I know that I don't. I know that people like us don't. We all understand that what we see is actually just created by us, and we can change it at any point we want. Melissa says, love your passion. Thanks, Melissa. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good after doing absolutely sweet fuck all this morning in order to actually get myself to this point. But that's exactly what I mean, is you don't actually need to do anything. You don't need to prove yourself. You don't need to take any steps. You don't need to beat yourself up because your energy is in a different place or whatever it is. Like if you saw my live stream last night that I talked about, that was a completely different energy, right? I was just laying around on the couch at night, and I thought about talking about, how the universe is trying to give you signs. And I talked about, my one of my breakups before I met my husband, and how long the universe was trying to send me signs to leave that relationship, and how in my face it had to get before I actually listened, right? It was actually quite funny, but, it's just all this kind of stuff. It's just going with what you want. It's just deciding what you want and trusting that it's given and trusting that it's done and trusting that it is how it is. This is the universal laws that whatever you ask for is given. And in fact, if you're biblical or anything like that, because I'm definitely not religious in that way. However, learning a lot about spirituality and stuff, I have been reading certain parts of the Bible and things like that as I've done different programs and books by different authors, and things like that, saying that you've probably all heard that even before you ask, it is given, right? And it is. Everything in the universe is happening right now. Everything that you could possibly want, all of your wildest dreams, all the abundance, all the joy, all the love, everything that you want is here right now, not in the future, not in the past, not one day, not someday, not when you've followed all these steps, not when you've done all these things, not when you've ticked off everything on your to-do list, not when you've proven yourself to this person, not when you've done any fucking thing except when you have just decided that it's done. That is the only requirement. That is it. That is it. Melissa says, stepping out in faith in the journey. Yes, exactly. You can follow fear or you can follow faith. You can't serve two masters. I say this all the friggin' time, right? It's one or the other. You can't have both. So you got to pick one. And if you're gonna, And you can't pick one day and then pick the other one the other day. You've got to pick one and then just stick with it. And that's what I think a lot of people get lost on as well. I'm going on a total rampage shift now. But totally off on tangents. But I think people get lost in this all the time, that they think, oh, I can just, allow myself to just give into the fear one day and give in, and then like lead with faith the next day and blah, blah, blah. No, you can't fucking do that. That's not how it works. You actually need to just choose and then make decisions based from that. That doesn't mean you're not going to feel the fear. That doesn't mean you're not going to have things come up that scare you or that you feel down or whatever. We're human as fuck, so we're going to have that stuff come up. But you don't make your decisions. You don't make decisions about how your life's going to move forward based from that, right? You just allow yourself to feel the fear. You allow yourself to acknowledge it, almost like you're sort of floating up above yourself, and you're like, that's interesting. I can see that coming up. I can feel that. I wonder where that's coming from. Get curious about it. Have some fun with it. Stop taking it so seriously. Stop taking your mindset work so seriously. Stop taking like everything that's happening so seriously, and just learn to have a bit of fun with yourself and just be like, that's interesting. I know that limitation. I've had that thought before. That's funny. I see that now. I see where that's coming from, and I'm still going to move forward in faith. I'm still going to do that, right? Harmony says, letting the universe lead us in what it's all about. You are in my mind and body. We are as one. Absolutely. Absolutely. The part on this tangent that I wanted to finish off on was that it's just a choice, right? People think, oh, I can't, but I'm always worried about this, or I've always been scared of this, or I had a really bad experience with this. And so therefore they keep arguing for their limitation, and they keep arguing for their fear. And they don't realise that it's nothing more than a choice, right? If you just decided right this second that every choice I make now is based on faith, is based on what I know is right for me, what I know in my soul is what I am meant to do, and that kind of thing. If you just decided that from now on that is just what I'm going to make the choices from, then that's just what you do. That's it. You don't have to rethink it. And this is something that I used to teach my weight loss clients as well when I was a personal trainer for like a decade. Is something that I know a lot of people struggle with in weight loss, is this idea of on a diet, off a diet, right? And so people would, nearly eating my nails here, never mind. And they'd get into this mindset of like, okay, here's the diet, I'm going to do the diet, right? And then something would come up, they'd have a bad day, or they'd just get cravings or whatever it is, and they'd get back into their head and start having that conversation. I know I've been there because I'm a recovered binge eater, right? So this is something that I specialised in. You get it back in your head and you're like, oh, but can I go have this? Or maybe I can just go have this treat. Maybe I can just go have this burger. Maybe I can just, the rationalising, right? If I just eat this today, then tomorrow I'll have like less to make up for it, and whatever it is, and you start rationalising. And the problem that you've done there is purely that you've gone back on your decision, and you've started trying to make that decision again from a place of fear, from a place of doubt, from a place of freaking out for whatever reason, right? And so you're not going to make a good decision. That's just a given. Like when you're in that state, of course you're going to make a shitty decision. But the problem is that you've given yourself that option of making the decision again, rather than just being like, oh, well, I can feel that I would really like a burger, and I'm really feeling like that's really what I want, and blah, blah, blah. However, I've already made the decision that I'm sticking to this because I'm going to feel awesome, I'm going to do this, and this is what I really want, this is what's aligned for me. So therefore, oh well, I'm just going to, hover above myself over here and just look down on myself and not look down in a bad way, but I'm just going to look down onto myself and see what's going on and feel what's going on, and sort of take a step out of my own self and be like, interesting. Wonder where that's coming from. Wonder what I'm feeling there. Wonder what, that means, or anything like that, right? And just be like, oh, interesting. Well, I can see that I'm feeling that. I can acknowledge that. I'm definitely, aware that this is something I could work on, but I already made my decision. I already made my decision that this is done, that this weight loss is happening, that this plan is happening, whatever it is. And I'm not here to, let my fear come in whenever it just feels like and make me second guess my decision. No, I'm happy with my decision, so I'm going to stick with that. And it's the same with everything else, right? You just have to decide. That's all it is. You just decide, you make that decision, and then from then on, you refuse to let fear come back in, and basically, refuse to let fear come back in and tell you that, oh, maybe you should reconsider that decision. Maybe you weren't really, really sure, because guess what? Whenever that comes up, that little voice, it's never in a good state. It's never in your most empowered state, is it? It's not in the state where you're like, yes, I own this, I've got this, I'm amazing, I'm flowing, I'm happy, I'm joyful, I'm full of love. No, it's never in that fucking state. It's in a state of, I don't wanna, and I'm bored, and I'm tired, and everything's too hard. And from that state, of course, you're going to make a shitty decision, right? So stop letting yourself just make decisions based in that state. Just make your decision and then decide that that's it, that's done. You don't need to re-go into that until you decide at a later point, when you are aligned and happy and joyful and abundant as fuck, then you can decide, oh, you know what? I actually want to do this now. This actually feels better for me. And then you can change for sure. But do not change when you are in that fearful state. Do not change your mind and decide to go the other way out of weakness, out of misalignment, out of fear, all that kind of stuff. That is not the time to be making decisions to change things, right? Hope that makes sense. Let me know if that makes sense. Sometimes I go on rambles and I'm not sure if I explain them properly. Melissa says, can't let the past define the future. Exactly. Especially because there is no past, there is no future. Everything is happening now. Time is just something that we have invented. Again, another illusion that as humans we've invented because we need to have a sense of time in order to understand ourselves and in order to understand our growth, because we as humans, unfortunately, while our souls are limited, as humans we are limited in what we can do and what we can understand, right? Our souls understand everything. Our souls understand time, space and everything like that. But as humans, we need to definitely have some kind of boundaries so we can understand ourselves properly. And that's the thing, like I used to, there is very much that saying, I think it was from Dr. Phil years ago. Yes, I used to watch Dr. Phil before it went really, really random and commercialized, right? But this is years and years ago when I was a young kid. Harmony says, makes so much sense. Yes, thank you. Awesome. And there was a saying that he kind of said, and I think Tony Robbins as well, because I used to read Tony Robbins from about like age 5. It was absolute personal development mindset junkie, right? All of these gurus that I value so much and respect so much, right? And he used to say that the best way to understand, or the best way to predict the future is to look at the present, right? And basically, that the best way to know what someone's going to do in the future is to look at what they've done in the past. And this is very true, right? This is very, very true for most people, for most of the ones that I now call the crazy ones, who live in this illusion that they've created and then argue for their limitations all day long. Right, so for those people, it actually is, right? And that's the thing. I can literally look at a person, and even just without using my intuition, which I do have, I can just look at them and look at their past behaviour and look at where they've gotten to and what they've gotten to and where they're going, where they've been to so far and what their thoughts are, and even just like a 5-minute conversation with them and what kind of thoughts they have and what kind of words they speak. I can tell you what their future is going to be in 5 years, in 10 years, in 20, in 50, in 25, whatever. Like, it's just so obvious because you just tune in and you're like, well, this is what you believe, this is what you do, this is the actions you take, and this is how you feel about it all. So therefore, like, your path is just obvious, right? And until something comes along, or until you decide, more importantly, that you're going to let something come along and change this path, it's not going to change. And I can tell you exactly where you're going to be in 5, 10, 15, 20 years' time. And it's not because I'm intuitive and it's not because I have magical powers. It's just because it's just a straight line continuum, right? The fun and the stuff that actually matters and the stuff that actually changes things is for people like us, right, where we're not on a straight line continuum, especially because a lot of us are like on an entrepreneurial, I can't even say that word properly, journey. And I'm sure you've seen that little thing, success, people think it's like from A to B when really it's like this, right? And that's exactly what it is, and that's exactly how we are, and that's why we're so unpredictable, because one day we can be down so much and the next day we're back up, and our paths will change so many times because we know that we have to just follow flow, we have to just follow ourselves, we have to follow our soul and what the purpose, how it guides us. And we know that sometimes it's not going to make sense to our human selves, right? Because all the human crazy ones around us are going to be like, oh, you're flaky as fuck, you're changing your mind all the time, you don't really know where you're going, blah, 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 you just keep, floating through. And that's what it looks like to them, right? That's what because they understand process, they understand the rules, they understand following things and following the leader and all that kind of stuff, all the sheep. So to them it does look like that, and that's fine. Like, everybody has to do whatever feels awesome for them, although I highly doubt that feels awesome for the most part for a lot of people, which is why more and more of them start becoming more awake like us to it. But if that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do, right? But don't let those people make you feel like you're less of a person, that you're flaky or you're not real enough, or you're, what's the word that I used to hate? Selfish was one I got called a lot, I think, behind my back mostly. And then the other word I got called, inconsistent. Yeah, that really bothered me because I'm very, very consistent at getting the results that I want, right? I am very consistent at that. I always have been. But they kind of treat you like you have the plague or something because you're kind of, you keep changing your mind and you keep following your heart, and that sometimes it takes you this way and sometimes it takes you that way and whatever it is. And that's exactly what I felt like when I started like my second business. I was like, oh, well, everybody's going to think that, this is flaky as, because here I am doing a coaching business, and now I'm going to be, teaching people about wealth and abundance and helping them create, a lifestyle on their terms and go traveling the world if they want, like me, or they can just have the money to do what they want, and, talking about online and a 90% automated system and all that kind of stuff. And it's going to just, trigger so many people or whatever. But it is what it is. Like, at the end of the day, I get to live exactly how I want to live, meet amazing people like you guys, right, all the time, and have you guys in my life. People who, light me up and just bring me so much joy and so much love and so much abundance and so much everything, that it's like, well, why would I care what the people who think I'm crazy think? That just doesn't make sense to me. Harmony says, love you, keep doing this, talking this, it's so powerful. Thank you, lovely. So really, it doesn't matter. Let them go. Let them think what they want to think. Let them call you flaky. Let them call you inconsistent. Let them call you whatever the fuck they want. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, because the people who matter don't mind, and the people who mind don't matter. One of my favourite sayings. Don't know who came up with it, so I can't quote them on that one. But it's an amazing saying, and it's so true, right? The people who you're really meant to have in your life and who are going to really, help you move forward and keep moving forward and have an amazing time in this human experience that you have, they're not going to care. They're not going to care what you do, because they're just happy that you are following your light and your love and your purpose and your passion. And the people who mind, they really don't matter. They're the ones that are crazy, that are living into their illusion, that are arguing for their limitations, that are always making choices based out of fear and out of what they can't do and why this is so hard and why this didn't work out in one time and so therefore it can't work again. And you're just like, you're too draining. You're too draining. And that's the people that I mean, that you can just literally see exactly how their life's going to turn out in the next 5, 10, 15, 20, whatever years, because it's literally just... There's no nuance, there's no changes, there's no surprise plot twists, right? There's none of that at all. Whereas for me, there's like a plot twist every other week, right? Like even just deciding my husband and I are going to go traveling location free, right? Which is something that we're able to do in the next few months because of this second business that I started, which is the 90% automated platform that's entirely online. Anyone can do all that kind of thing. Because when we made that decision, it was literally just, you know what, this is what we're going to do. And suddenly out of nowhere, like here I was still doing, my job. My husband has his full-time job that he's finishing up shortly. And I was just like, this just feels right. And this is just what we're going to do. And obviously my husband was on board. I didn't just tell him he has to go move countries and travel the world. But that's exactly what happened, right? And that was just like surprise, plot twist, like, it is what it is, and if you don't like it, too bad. I'm never going to stop anyone else from living their purpose and their dreams and their life, so why would you stop anybody else from doing it? It's just too much fun. There's just too much fun and too much abundance, too much love, and just too much everything in the world to ever believe in scarcity, to ever believe that you can't have everything you want, because you absolutely can. And back to the starting point, it's just because you decide. That is it. There are no rules. There are no hoops you have to jump through. There are no to-do lists you need to tick off. There's nothing you need to prove to anyone. There's nothing you need to have all your ducks in a row of something first. Nope. You just decide. That's it. You just decide, and then you just keep making decisions based from that moving forward. You do not let yourself backtrack and start making decisions out of fear. No, you just choose, you decide, and you keep making every decision moving forward from that place of faith, from that place of decisiveness, from that place of knowing that you are always aligned, always supported by the universe, by source, by God, whatever you want to call it. I don't give a fuck. You call it what you want, but you just believe that there is a higher power that is working in your favor at all times, because it is. It always is. We are always getting what we ask for, whether you like it or not. And this is like a whole other topic really about how we are able to, you know, attract stuff that we then claim we didn't want, and that was a really bad thing that happened, and how could I have possibly wanted that? But that's a whole other topic that I'll talk about another time, maybe if I dare. But yeah, that's it. You just make the decision and you just move forward and you just go do it. And if you want to know how this second business that I'm running, that is, you know, funding this lifestyle that we're able to go and travel and everything like that, please feel free to reach out, send me a private message, or just pop a comment here if you're watching the replay or the live, whatever. And I can send you a free webinar that explains a little bit more how it works. The really short story of it is that, like I said, it's a 90% automated platform. The 10% that you do is entirely... Oh no, I've got bugs on me now. The 10% that you do is entirely step-by-step, so you don't need any tech experience to get started. This is why, literally, if you're on Facebook, you have all of the requirements that are needed to run this. And it's just run online through a laptop or a smartphone, so it can be done from anywhere in the world, hence why I'm going to be able to travel and keep doing this and just growing and expanding and helping more people unlock their financial and time freedom. Yeah, oh, and there's no selling involved, which is the really cool part as well, because obviously as things change around me, I'm going to refocus back on my coaching and refocus on relaunching a lot of stuff around that, which is going to take up a lot of my time. So yeah, it's awesome that this is something that's 90% automated, and that the longer I do it, actually, the more automated it even gets, right? But it's just super fun, and there's no selling involved, and there's no annoying people, and there's no any of that hassling type of stuff. So it's really, really cool. So if you want to know about that, I can send you a free webinar that explains it in more detail, because obviously there is more detail. So send me a message or something. Let me know if you want the info on that. And apart from that, I think we're done. I've enjoyed my sunshine. That, as a reminder, I just decided I wanted, and so it showed up, and so it is, and so it is. And that's it. And you get to have whatever you decide on, just like that, just because you decide as well. But it only happens if you decide to move forward from faith and from that decision that that's it, that's done, that you've just taken away all the conditions and all the rules. There you go. I am going to plug another book that I think I should become an affiliate for. How many times I plug this book? A Happy Pocket Full of Money, right? This is another thing from there, is just talking about the conditions and the rules that we've set up in our lives, you know, as humans and everything like that, about saying what we can and can't have. And in order to reach this, you have to have this, this, and this. And in order to get to this, you need to, you know, have ticked off these things, all these conditions, all these rules that we've put up. Like, this is how the whole, you know, schooling, everything is structured, that, oh, well, if you want to have this amount of money, you have to have this job, which means you have to go to uni for this amount of time, which means you have to get these marks at school, or whatever other crap, right? All these rules, all these conditions on achieving what you know you are meant for. And these are all just illusions. These are all just things that we've created, right? So quit arguing for the illusions, quit arguing for your limitations, and just flow. Just allow it to come to you. Just allow yourself to trust that you are always taken care of, and that every time you make a decision and you have your absolute shock, plot twist moment, and you just go and change something, that's awesome. If that's what is aligned for you, go do it. Don't even doubt it. Don't even doubt it for a second. Do it the moment it happens, because that is your intuition. That is your power. That is everything about you that makes the magic in your life, right? And if you get in the habit of shutting that down, it's going to just take you that much longer to get back to getting more of these signs, right? Because they're just going to try and get more and more subtle, which, yeah, I would suggest watching last night's live stream if you haven't, about like the signs. The universe will make it more and more subtle to try and kind of get through to you. And then eventually it'll start like literally shoving things in your face just to try and get you to pay attention, because it's always looking out for you. It is always looking out for you. And you get to just feel into that and trust that and love that, and just move forward from that place and love. That's it. All comes back to love, right? And connection. And that's all it is. Okay, I think we're done here. Have an amazing day, whatever you're up to for the rest of the day. Have an amazing weekend. It is Friday here in Melbourne, so it is the weekend here. And yes, I will talk to you guys really soon. Have an amazing day. And remember, live life on purpose. Bye.